If you're a woman over 50 who likes a minimalist makeup look and the occasional makeup trick or hack, you're in the right place. My name is Cindy. Welcome to Beyond 50 Skin. We're going to declutter my makeup mess. I have once again outgrown my makeup bin. I upsized it the last time we did a declutter together and it is outgrowing it again. We're going to go through everything all the way from concealers to my brushes, and I'm going to clear out and clean up. The first thing I like to do before decluttering is to just put everything out there and sort it out. Sometimes I've got it in the wrong drawers, or I put things in the wrong place, or there are things down in my purse. So the first thing I'm going to do is organizing. So I have this amazing acrylic organizer that I got last fall, and it's really helped me stay organized by categories. I highly recommend it. I'm going to start with Complexion products, and I've definitely outgrown this space because I had to go to a little external organizer recently. Many of these products I can see right now are products that I did in my skin tint review last summer. I know for a fact that this OG stick, this is their contour stick. I'm not using it. It's much too dark for my complexion. I'm gonna definitely be decluttering this. I had another OG stick. Here it is. The blush, which I think is really pretty and suits me. So I'm gonna keep that, but it's in the wrong category. So I'm gonna pop it into the blush section. Laura Mercier is one of my absolute favorites. This will be a keeper. Bobbi Brown's Vitamin Enriched Skin Tint. I did a review for you guys, but this has fragrance in it, so I'm definitely going to be decluttering this. It's a little bit too strong for my preference. The Kojin Dough Aqua Foundation is one of my favorite finds. I learned about this from Lisa J. Now, it's not actually a skin tint. It's a little bit more like a foundation, but it just gives the most beautiful coverage for mature skin. I'm almost finished with my 2 Hourglass. This is their hydrating skin tint, the Veil Hydrating Skin Tint. I'm between a 2 and a 3, and I'm definitely going to be finishing these up, so I need to move it to the front of my container there. Now the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Hydrating Tint, this is about halfway finished. I know for a fact that I wasn't too fond of this, and so I'm definitely going to be decluttering it. This is the Instant Firmex. It's an eye treatment and it's in the wrong place, so I need to move that back out of Complexion products. Now this is a new find. It's actually not new, but it's new to me. This is Merit's Complexion Stick, and I'm going to be doing a review. I wish this went all the way down because I always nick it with the cap. The Maracuja Tinted Hydrator, it's time for this to go. This is in the color Fair Light Neutral. All of the tinted hydrators by Tarte, including the Maracuja, are a bit yellow for me. I find that that whole line runs a bit yellow and it just kind of makes my skin look a little sickly. So I'm going to be decluttering this. You guys did like this when I reviewed it on my particular skin tone, but I think it was the studio lighting that kind of blended the fact that it was a little too yellow for my skin. And natural lighting, this didn't look as good. The Superstay Skin Tint and the True Match Tinted Serum are two that I reviewed for you, and I really want to give these another try before I declutter them. This is in the color 112 and this is in 1-2.5. It's called Rose Light. The Kosas BB Burst Tinted Gel Cream. This was actually a fail during my tinted moisturizer review, and I'm definitely decluttering this. It kind of separates and it never really looks great on my skin. Summer Fridays, the Sheer Skin Tint is one of my favorites, and it's actually what I'm wearing today. I love this color. I love the way this gives a sheer tint. This is in shade 2. And it really looks dark going on, but it blends into my skin really well. The Nude Stick, this is another sort of average find, and I just never reach for it. It's a little bit too reddish and terracotta for my skin tone, and it also gives more coverage than I prefer. I prefer a lighter skin tint with kind of that skin peeking through, and this is a bit too opaque for my preference. Youthforia's Date Night Foundation is new to me. I haven't really played around with it too much. It's a very creamy and opaque foundation. I'm not sure it's something I'm gonna enjoy, and it's also a little bit too light for me, but I'm definitely gonna keep it to play around with it. Like I said, I haven't really tried it, but just to test it when it arrived. So I'm going to be giving this a little bit more of a thorough testing. Beauty Blender's Bounce Skin Tint is one I reviewed for you. I think they're discontinuing this, and I actually really liked it. A few of you mentioned that it really wasn't one of your favorites, but you actually have to have pretty dry skin for this because it does have kind of a lot of glow and sheen to it. So if you like a complexion product that dries down, kind of matte or even semi-matte, this probably isn't for you. And I need to move this up to the front of my caddy and use this up because I really did like it. I loved the Tula Primer as a complexion product. I am not a fan of their Radiant Skin Brightening Serum. Number one, I did pick this up in too light of a tone, so I need to pass it on to someone with a different complexion tone than I have, but it is really opaque and I just don't like the texture of it. I think that's the biggest problem with this. So this is going to be a declutter for me. New Beauty Super Tinted Hydrator. This is shade 2 and this is shade 3, and I'm going to show them to you. They are super moisturizing and super glowy, and yes, they are super expensive. But I love this skin tint and I love this combination. It just matches my skin tone really well, and I love the glow it gives. It is really glowy, and if you have oily skin, you're probably not going to like it. And yes, it is on the expensive side. I do have a discount code if you want to try it out, but even with the discount code, it is a pricey complexion product. The Vanished Airbrush Primer is again in the wrong section, and I also have the Merit, the Great Skin Primer. These are the only two primers that I have right now. I like them both, and I'm going to be keeping them. The Merit Primer is a little bit more like a moisturizer, so I may move that into my skincare routine in place of a moisturizer. The Hourglass Vanish Primer is a true primer, and if I want a more perfected look to my makeup, this is a beautiful blurring primer, and it's also slightly hydrating. This is a good choice if you're looking for that airbrushed look, but you also want a touch of moisture. This is the Tula Filter Primer, Blurring Moisturizing Primer. Once again, a really great primer, but it's much thinner, and it also has a bit of a skin tint, which I absolutely love. This is kind of one of my one and dones. This is in the color Luna, which is a great match for me. If you're looking for kind of a one and done skin tint and primer, this is a great choice. The Euphoria Pregame Primer is very similar to the Tula Filtering Primer. It gives a little hint of color with that really nice blurring property. Love this, and I know there are a ton of you that actually use this too as a no makeup look. This is one of my go-tos, and I already have my backup. I really don't have that many concealers by dark spots, but this has seen better days. This needs decluttering. I can tell that it's kind of separating, and I already have my backup. It has a serum-like texture, so it's very light, and it just kind of blends into the skin, and it does a bit of color correcting as well as concealing. So I have my brand new one, and it is in the color Light Cool number 20. Hourglass Concealer is a little bit more opaque. It gives you a little bit more coverage, and sometimes I want that, but it's definitely more of a concealer versus a color corrector, whereas the Bye Dark Spots is more of a concealer and color corrector in one. And as you can see, the Hourglass kind of dries down a bit matte, whereas the Bye Dark Spots serum has a little bit of a sheen to it. Here's what we're decluttering from the Complexion products. I'm going to be putting them in a big bin. I'll show you everything at the end. Now to put all the Complexion products that I'm keeping back in, and fingers crossed they fit. I'm trying to organize it so that the ones that I need to finish up are in the front. I'm going to be putting my Merit Great Skin Priming Moisturizer in with my skincare because I feel like this is more of a skincare product than an actual makeup primer. Moving on to all my lip products. I decided to sort these into lip glosses, lip tints, lip pencils, true lipsticks, some outline products, and we're going to start with glosses. I love the Rare Beauty. This is in the color Mauve. This is definitely a keeper. I need to make sure this gets into my purse so that I use it up. There's not too much left, even though it kind of looks like there's quite a bit left. There's not a whole lot left, so I'm going to be keeping this for sure. I have two by IT Cosmetics. Now the colors don't look too exciting in the containers. I actually used up They're clear. This is called Confidence in a Serum Gloss, and I actually really like the texture. It has some staying power for a gloss. I do love this one. I can't remember the name of these colors, but I will definitely put them down below. This cream gloss by Fenty Beauty, I'm not really a fan of. It's a little bit too opaque for me, and the color, it's just not something I know that I will wear, so this is getting decluttered. The Hourglass lip glosses are two of my absolute favorites. This is in the color Haze and this is in the color Mist. I think Mist has been discontinued because I know a lot of you were looking for it. Hopefully they bring it back. These are two of my absolute favorite lip glosses. Moving on to lip tints. I love all of the Revie Beauty Effortless Lips. This is a new launch in late 2024 by LA Glines. I'll quickly swatch them for you. They're a little bit more than a gloss, but not quite a lipstick, and they're super buildable. This is the color Rose, Tulip, Lily, and Poppy, and I love all her colors. She has several releases out now. These are my absolute favorites, and these are definitely keepers. This lip tint by Jones Road in the color Rose Mocha did not work out for me. It's just too dark a color. It's not very flattering with my skin tone, so this is going to be a declutter. The Maracuja Juicy Lip Plumper by Tarte is kind of a hot mess in my opinion. It is really hard to put on. It's super goopy, as you can see it. It's really hard to apply. It has coconut mint flavor, which is really odd. It's also a bit too glittery for me, so this is definitely a hard pass. Here's one of my absolute favorite lip tints. I'm completely out. This is the one by Charlotte Tilbury. This is her Superstar Lips in Pillow Talk. I already have a backup of this. Let me swatch it for you because it's such a pretty color. It's kind of getting mixed up with all the sparkles from the Maracuja Lip Plump, but it's just such a pretty color. I always have one in my purse. Now this lip stain by Sephora is a little bit too dark for me. The packaging is problematic, and I purchased it for a photo shoot that I was doing, and it's just a little bit too dark. I was kind of going for a rose and I needed something with staying power, so I decided to try a lip stain, and this just kind of didn't work out, and obviously the packaging is a problem. I've decided to try some lip liners. This is the Lip Cheat by Charlotte Tilbury in Iconic Nude. I do need to sharpen this. Such a lovely nude color. You can fill the entire lip area with this just to help your lipstick stay, or you can line your lips. I've been really pleased with this, and this is the color. I decided to pick up another one in Pillow Talk 2 Medium. And I'm loving both of these. So I use this one if I want to fill my whole lip, and I've been using this one to outline my nude lipsticks or my nude lip glosses. A new launch by Tatcha that is kind of a fail for me. I was really excited because these have SPF 25 and it looks like they had some beautiful shades, but unfortunately these lipsticks just have the most muted colors. They're just not all that pretty. And I was really disappointed in how drying they are. It's probably because of the SPF, but I do know there are formulas that are out there in a lip product with SPF that aren't drying, but these tend to really dry my lips. The colors are a little bit on the muddy side, so I'm definitely decluttering all three of these. As far as my traditional lipsticks, I don't have too many. I love this one from the Giraffe collection by Chantecaille. It's in Freesia and it's more of a sheer tint. Love this. Unfortunately, it's discontinued, which is so frustrating with some of their limited lines, but love this and we'll definitely be finishing it up. Another one from Chantecaille that I'm probably going to have to declutter because it's definitely not me. It is Fuchsia Red. I thought it was going to be like a red, but this is just kind of a wild fuchsia red, something I probably won't ever wear. This is a little sample size that I got of the No Walk of Shame, also Charlotte Tilbury, and I just don't like this color. It's a little muted and I just don't find it all that flattering. I do love a mauve red lipstick, but this just isn't quite my color. Maybe perhaps a little bit too orange. This is the only color that I have for a nude lip, so I'm gonna keep it. Every once in a while, it's fun to play around with a nude lip, and this is in the color Kim KW. Paracord MD makes some great lipsticks for a no makeup look. I'm definitely keeping this. I love this mauve, but I need to move it to the front because I don't use it very often. And it really is a beautiful lip color that sheers out lovely. And I cannot remember the name of this. It's called 9E1. And if it has a color name, I'll put it down below, but definitely keeping this beautiful mauve lipstick, as well as the one by Clinique. This is the Surprise. I've used this for years. This needs finishing up as well. It has completely new packaging. It's their dramatically different lipstick. Oh, I forgot to take a peek at these two outliers. Now this is by Jouer and it's a lip topper and it is a little bit on the sparkly side, but it's completely fun. It goes on top of any of your lipsticks just to give them a little pop. And this is by Youthforia. Now this is an interesting product because it's color changing. I'm just gonna tap out a little bit. It comes out green. Then it changes to the color that your particular pH brings out in the formula. And I actually really like it. And here's the interesting story about this formula. It was supposed to be a cheek product. I thought it was a lip to cheek, so I had been using it on the lips and just complaining about the fact that it didn't have very good staying power. But the formula was never designed to be just for the lips. It was supposed to be designed for cheeks only, as a blush. So I kind of have it in the wrong category, but I prefer to use it as a lip color. Now to put the rest of my lip products back. Moving on to blushes, it looks like I've stowed away a Complexion product in with my blushes. This is the one by Hints. It's called Second Skin Foundation. I actually really like this product. I've shared it with you before in a Complexion product review. I don't wear it that often because it's a little bit opaque for my particular preference, but when I'm going for a nighttime look, this gives me a little bit more coverage and it really is an exact match for my skin tone. So I'm going to keep it. I'm just going to have to find another home for it. I don't use it that often. Perhaps when I clear out some of these that are almost empty, I'll have room for it. But for now, I'll just keep it right there. All right, moving on to blushes. This is a new release by Milk Makeup. It's called their Cooling Water Jelly Tint, and it is just not a color that I know I will wear. And I'm going to pass this on to one of my nieces who has the complexion that this brighter blush will look beautiful on. This blush by OG is actually really pretty. It's a little bit more muted than I would normally wear, but I love the way it sheers out. You guys know that I am terrified of blush. And if you watched my Aquaphor video, then you know that I'm a little bit blush blind and doing blush is kind of challenging for me. That's why I'm loving my little collection here of Merit blushes. This is their lip to cheek collection called Flush Blush. And I have quite a few of their colors. They came out with a whole new series of colors recently. My favorite one right now is the one in Cheeky. It's so versatile. I also love these darker ones for putting in a little bit of contour. They're so pretty and you honestly cannot make a mistake with these blushes. They blend out beautifully. It's the blush that I'm wearing today. I actually use this on my lips today too. Absolutely love the Merit Lip to Cheeks, and I have another one in Post Modem that I haven't even opened up yet. So I have quite a few to get through, so I'm not going to open that up right now. Here are two Tower 28 blushes that I loved, but they're actually not the color they originally were. They're the Beach Please blushes. This is the one in Dream Hour, and this is the one in Party Hour. But over time, they've honestly oxidized or something and changed color. So I am going to be decluttering these because I think they're just a little off. At least the colors are not the same as when I first purchased them. This is one of my longtime favorite blushes. It's by Hints. As you can see, it's well loved. It takes me forever to get through a blush. I just don't wear it that often. It's kind of that crossover between a highlighter and a blush. This is in the color Blush On. I can use it as just a little flush of color on my cheek or as a highlighter over another blush. This RMS Beauty blush is an interesting product because it's a powder blush, but it's supposed to be a hydrating powder. This is in the color Pomegranate Fizz, and this blush is pigmented. If you watched my Aquaphor video, you will see that I got way too much of this. A little bit goes such a long way. I need to play around with this a little bit more. What is also unique about this is it's one little compact and you can just buy the refills. This is the Pillow Talk Matte Beauty Blush Wand by Charlotte Tilbury. It is a little bit dried out, but I am going to finish it. It's a cream blush and it shears out really pretty. It's a color I don't usually wear that often. It's just that really peach pink blush that I just love it. And I find myself reaching for it quite a lot. I need to put it in the front so that I finish it up. And here's a new blush wand that I think is more of a highlighter. I may have put it in the wrong category. I think I got this in PR and I haven't used it much. Oh, you have to turn this on. The unique thing about these is they are on off, but you can really get too much. So go really slow, dispense a little bit of the product and then close it back down because you get a lot of product. And actually that is a really pretty color. Definitely gonna play around with this. Like I said, I haven't used it very much because I just got it in PR. It has a little bit more shimmer to it. The color is Pink Gasm. I think both of these cream formulas are beautiful on mature skin. Moving on to eyeshadows, I don't have too many. I don't wear eyeshadow all that often, but when I do, I traditionally reach for neutrals. And this is the Too Faced Naturals palette. I love this palette because it has some beautiful satin colors. One of my all-time favorite palettes is the Tartelette in Bloom. This is the Amazonian Clay edition and love it. I did lose a couple of the colors, but I have my backup. It was 50% off this summer at Ulta, and so I grabbed another one. Love this. It's got a few satins and mostly matte colors. The Charlotte Tilbury was a new purchase during the Christmas Sephora sale. It's a whipped cream eyeshadow and I chose the color Champagne. It's perfect satin and I've heard that it's a no budge and super long lasting eyeshadow. So I'm looking forward to playing around with this. The Merit Solo eyeshadows, this is the one in Social. I honestly didn't have very good luck with this. It's super dry, it's super matte. I don't think it looks good on my mature eyes. This little palette is by Trio and it's kind of a paint by numbers system if you're really new at how to place eyeshadow. Super great system at numbers 1, 2, 3 and it gives you the brushes 1 through 3 on how to use them. I use this as my travel palette just for something really quick to take traveling. I'm gonna go put this back in my travel bag. I only have 2 stick eyeshadows. This is by Bobbi Brown and it kind of reminds me a lot of the Charlotte Tilbury, maybe a little bit more shimmery and pink, but I'm gonna keep this and play around with it. Another stick shadow I've been playing around with is by Thrive. Now I like the texture of this, but it doesn't last. It really doesn't have much staying power. Actually, once I apply it, it just kind of blends in with my skin. I'm going to be decluttering it. Armani has the most beautiful liquid shadows. This is in Shell, again, a neutral, and I love this for a one and done shadow, just to kind of make my lids pop. Most all of these I use on a regular basis. Only 2 declutters in the shadow category. I'll be keeping all of these, and of course I have my Tartelette in Bloom backup. I don't use a highlighter that often, usually just if I'm going out in the evening for a fancy makeup look. This is the iconic Flawless Filter by Charlotte Tilbury, and let me see what color this is. But it is a lovely highlighter to kind of under paint your makeup to give it a little vavoom. This is 3 Fair, definitely keeping this. It's an iconic one, and if I want some of that pop to my evening makeup, I will throw that on. This is one, Do La La by Benefit. I picked up on a whim, and I definitely am not a fan of this texture. It's super creamy and doesn't really work as a highlighter. It might work better as a skin tint, but it has a lot of sheen to it. So I just have a feeling that I'm not going to wear that. I don't like the way it sits on the skin. It tends to break up a bit. So this is going to be a declutter. This is a new one that I got from Merit. Excited to play around with this. It may be replacing my favorite by Westman Atelier. They're Lit. They're quite different. This has more of kind of a pinky sheen. This has more of a gold sheen. So I'll hold on to these for now and play around with them. This is a similar product by In Beauty Project, similar to the Do La La by Benefit, but it's definitely a little bit less glowy and more like a skin tint compared to the Do La La. So I'm going to keep this and I'm going to put it up in my complexion products because I have a feeling that this is going to be more of a complexion product, like a skin tint for me with a lot of glow. I may get a lot of use out of this in the summertime. I'm down to 3 highlighters and 1 declutter. I have 2 color correction palettes and I like them both. I tend to reach for the Stila palette because the colors are closer to my natural skin tones, where these are a little bit too bright. But I do find every once in a while I reach for the NYX color correction palette, and I'll link my color correction tutorial video up above. Now, as far as mascaras and brow products, we're going to ignore this drawer for now. I'm not going to go through it because I'm doing a huge mascara review and a brow product review for you guys coming up. So there are a lot of new brands in here kind of tucked underneath, and I have some tucked away. So right now, I'm not going to be decluttering my brow products nor my mascaras until after I do that review for you guys. Now here are just some odds and ends. These are some powders that I absolutely love. The Ambient Lighting Powders by Hourglass. I use this as a bronzer. I use this as a highlighter. I use this as an eyeshadow. Love this palette. It's the volume 1, I believe. It has dim light, incandescent light, and radiant light. Now, in comparison, I don't use this Maybelline Superstay. This is one I used for my Aquaphor video, and I haven't touched it since. It's just a little bit too much for me, a little too opaque, and my skin is already dry, so putting a dry powder on top of my already dry skin just accentuates my wrinkles. But it is what Scott Barnes used in his Aquaphor video, so I wanted to kind of replicate it, but I'm going to be decluttering this. Miracle Balm. These I really tried to love, but I never reach for them. This is the Jones Road Miracle Balm in Happy Hour. I thought it would be a great match for my skin tone, and it does, but it just makes my skin greasy looking. It's like tinted Vaseline. I honestly never reach for this, and so it's getting decluttered along with the Miracle Balm in Bronze. I thought I would use this as a contouring color, but again, it's just too orange for my skin tone or brassy for my skin tone, and it just leaves my skin super greasy. This is Westman Atelier's highlighter. It's actually in the wrong drawer. It's in the color Peau de Pêche, and I'll give you a comparison on how this highlighter bronzer compares to the one by Jones Road. It's just so much more delicate looking, blends so much more nicely, and I just love this. I use it as a bronzer in the summertime and occasionally as a highlighter, so I'm going to put it in with the rest of the highlighters. 3 declutters from that drawer. I'm going to declutter my brushes. The only brushes I ever use are my BK Beauty brushes. They're super dense, they're super soft. They make my makeup look flawless. I have the travel set, and then I have the Angie Hot and Flashy A506. And honestly, I don't ever reach for my other brushes. They aren't as soft, they don't apply the makeup as beautifully and evenly, and I just find myself not using them, so it's time to wash these up, pass these on if they're still in good shape. This is everything that's left, and here's everything we decluttered. Well, we got through it all. We decluttered what I wasn't using, reorganized what I'm loving. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, for cleaning up my makeup mess, and wishing you all a fantastic day.